Well, there it is. That was news. So Nigel Farage has nicked the policy from the Conservatives. Are you buying into that? Let's speak to Harrison Allman Varty, Reform UK member for Elmbridge Borough Council. Harrison, good afternoon to you. Of course, half an hour ago, you were a Conservative. So there's your former leader. You now have a new party. Where do you sit specifically on the point that Kemi Badenoch just made there? Nigel Farage has been out there like a cuckoo, nicking stuff. Or is it a magpie?
Well, look, it's good to be back, Ian. I mean, to be honest, I don't know about your viewers, and I can't speak on behalf of them, but when I listen to it, does anybody just get really annoyed? And it's almost like frustrating. You're right, I was a Conservative. I was one of those people that hung on for as long as I could, thinking, here we go, they're gonna pull something out the bag, to then have that realization hit you like a steam train, thinking this is just over, it's game over here.
You were the youngest Conservative councillor in the country, and then you joined Reform, where the average age of a councillor is about 12, so you're probably one of the oldest.
I know, senior. Gone from junior to senior. The quickest.
Indeed. Indeed.
I mean, I know. Look, I didn't exactly do it for the pickup line, as I explained before. but you're right. I mean, I was fully integrated within the Tory party. I was very much aware of all the operations in there. And the problem is, I mean, look, we all know what the problem is. The Conservative Party. There are too many people who aren't Conservative in that party. There are too many people really who should be the Liberal Democrats who are in that party, right? Now that's not changed. The only really route that I could have seen for the Tories, just on that point, was if you had a front bench now that was all people we've never heard of before, where it's like, we had no involvement with the last government, we are this fresh whatever, and you completely rebranded it. But even so, it's an absolute slog. So yeah, I mean, when I listened to her and she says we're gonna talk about this at the conference, who's going to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a fairly, I would imagine, I mean, last year's Tory party conference was apparently a bit like a wake. So I don't know what's in store for this autumn. Let's move to Mr Farage. He is now the leader of the party of which you are a member, Reform UK. It was a big announcement today. No, I don't think any party political leader has ever gone into this territory. Unequivocal promises about removing the country from various treaties, including the stubborn ECHR, which seems to be the biggest sticking point if you want to enact this kind of thing. What did you make of what he said? Bearing in mind, a year ago, he said this kind of thing wasn't really possible.
I mean, look, what was quite nice for me to hear is he was outlaying logistics and how adding a bit more meat onto the bone. I personally think, right, if you're the mindset of a voter who's genuinely concerned about this stuff, which I'd like to believe is most people in this country, most people are concerned about people who they aren't aware of, who are coming to the country, and they are then maybe settling up next door to them. The thing is like, for those voters, my question to them is, okay, if not them, then who? Who would you look to vote for? Who could answer this question? Who credibly could put forward a plan like for example, Kemi Badenoch is trying to position herself as we are, but I personally just don't think voters will buy it. They just won't. I mean, look, Labour voters haven't really even forgiven Labour. They just got in because no one turned out for the Tories. It takes quite a lot of time to earn that trust back. So I reckon by the time we come to the next election, it's a case of, I think people will just be at the case of, well, why wouldn't I vote for Reform? Because they're the only party that is saying exactly what I want, and I'm not going to vote Tory again, and I'm sure as hell not going to vote for Labour because look what's happening. It has to be Reform. That is the sentiment.
Indeed, but can this policy work? I mean, it's brave and bold. It would happen over a 5-year period. It wouldn't kick in, of course, until they got power, if they get power, 2029. So that's still 4 years away. Many more people will cross the channel in that time. 659 crossed yesterday, Bank Holiday Monday bonanza, where the sun shone, the channel was tranquil, and the boats kept coming. So there's going to be a lot more people arrive by that time. Do you think this will be even more fuel for Nigel Farage?
But what have these voters got to lose? Like I said, it goes back to my central point. Where would they turn? This is a case of we need to do this now. And like you're saying, 4 years is a long time, and I think you're absolutely right. By the time we get to the end of that track, we're going to be in a worse position because there's no indication from the top that any kind of shift is coming. I mean, look, we all had our doubts, really, about this smashing the gangs thing. It was just a tagline. It was a marketing ploy. And obviously we were all correct because the numbers don't lie. They've come in. So I think, yeah, as more time comes on, frustration will just build. Of course it will, because people will just feel as if they're being ignored. People would have voted for Labour on the basis of smashing the gangs. People would have voted for the Conservatives on the basis of them saying that they were going to cut migration. And people would obviously vote for Reform for that base. There's a lot of people out there who are banking on these numbers coming out, and they're just not.
Are you confident that Nigel Farage can do exactly what he announced today, Harrison?
Absolutely. I mean, Nigel Farage is one of the best political operators that we've seen. There's no doubt about it. And I personally think when you've got someone with the will and determination of Farage going into number 10, where the people around him are also fired up to just be out there solely to deliver for the British people, 100%, I've no doubt that they will deliver for us.
Well, only time is going to tell. Listen, Harrison, let's speak again. We haven't spoken for some time, as you rightly said. Glad to see you well. Harrison Allman Varty, Reform UK councillor at Elmbridge Borough Council. Let's get a word from Sebastian Salek, Labour councillor and commentator. Sebastian, also under the age of 30. Oh, it's like an episode of E4 here, isn't it? Or at the moment. Glad that more younger people, though, and I think we discussed this before, Sebastian, are getting involved in politics. You're a Labour man. You support your leader. But this is a policy announced by Nigel Farage this morning that is very much likely to completely shoot the Labour Party right in the political feet and take Mr Farage into number 10.
Well, I'm very flattered you think I'm under 30, Ian. I'm afraid that birthday is in the rearview mirror for me.
Oh, OK.
But on this one...
I shall retract such compliments.
Not far off, though. Not far off.
Good work.
Well, on this one, yeah, I mean, it's more of the same, isn't it, from Nigel Farage? It's the chief snake oil salesman back with more magic solutions that sound very seductive, but we don't know if they can work or not. And usually, you know, I'd come on and I'd question the mechanics. I would pick it apart. Today I'm going to do something slightly different, because my main concern here really is this the kind of country we want to be? Is this the nation we are building together? Arresting women and children, he's talking about, removing all of our human rights, paying money and negotiating with the Taliban. That's certainly not a Britain that I want to be behind. And I think most people in this country would agree with me that it is not the kind of Britain we should be building together.
Why do you think Reform UK are flying ahead in the polls, regularly beating your own party? These are the kind of policies that people are asking for. These aren't niche views any longer, Sebastian.
Yeah,
it's really you that need the rethink on this, right? I mean, you might have a rosy kind of idea of what socialism and kindness looks like, but the world has changed.
Well, let's come to the point on why Reform is ahead in the polls. We live in a country that has had shock after shock. It goes right the way back to 2008, and I think a lot of people's living standards have never really recovered from that. On top of that, we had Brexit, we had a pandemic, we had quite a poor handling of the economy over 14 years by the Conservatives. It's really not a sequence of events we've experienced for a very long time. And so I can understand why people want to roll the dice. They did it with Brexit, they did it with Corbyn even, they did it with Boris Johnson, and they're looking for another easy solution because they're desperate to find a way out of people who are living really difficult lives. So I can understand that easy, simplistic solutions sound very attractive.
But it's not easy and simplistic, is it? I mean, these are very serious, considered solutions. If you get, look, it wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea, but Reform would say, look, net zero, there's tens of billions of pounds that we can save. They would look at this policy on immigration, costing us $7 billion a year, and that doesn't even include those that require the NHS or other elements, and social cohesion. There's nothing in it for us. Fighting for British people is something that the two main political parties have forgotten, and Reform are going to represent that. They are going to speak the language of the average working man and woman. You're old school now, surely.
Well, it doesn't matter what they say if the result is unworkable. I would also...
Why is it unworkable? Why would it be unworkable to say, well, right, we're going to remove ourselves from these treaties, and if you come over here on a boat, you're going straight back to these countries? We cannot be responsible for what happens to every single person. We are not the world's guardians or policemen. That is no longer our job, or neither should it, not even morally, be our responsibility.
Well, on that moral point, regardless of what else happens in the world, I think sending people back to a country like Afghanistan, which, let's remind ourselves, is ruled by the Taliban, where they will almost certainly be tortured or killed, is the wrong thing to do. We are knowingly sending people to be tortured or killed. That's not something I'm personally comfortable with, and I think most people in this country would not be happy with that either. There are alternative solutions to this that do not involve torture or death. I mean, if you want to get into some of the issues I have with this, there were questions around where the removal centres will be. There were questions about how those deals will be struck with other countries. How do you even negotiate with the Taliban? And what do you do if someone has no documentation? Where do you send them back to? But I also don't want to be a doomster and come in here and my main message be this is completely unworkable, because I think it's fair to give everybody a chance to explain themselves, and we haven't had those answers.
But even as a lefty, do you not, and I don't say that as a pejorative, by the way, but as a left-wing politician, do you not look at what's happening on the Channel? And in the Channel situation was only half the story. I mean, it's not even the bulk of asylum claims, but nonetheless, it's the optics are there for all. It's very symbolic of a country that has lost control of its borders. Even surely as a Labour supporter, you must be able to look at that, Sebastian, and go, 50,000 people on an annual basis are coming into this country. If 50,000 people jumped over a barrier at Heathrow Airport, they'd be hell to pay for it. You must know that's acceptable. Unacceptable.
Oh, definitely. I'm not standing here and saying that it's right that these people are coming over. It's a tragedy that they're having to come over in the first place. Remember where they're coming from. It's not just Afghanistan. I've talked about that a lot, but it's Eritrea, it's Sudan, it's countries that are really, really, really awful places to live, where your life is in danger. There's a reason these people are coming over. So I'd love to see that fixed at the core. I'm really pleased to see the government investing £100 million extra into fixing this problem, which involves going back to those places, stamping out the gangs at the source. We don't talk about that enough. These are global networks. They're not just hanging around at Calais. They're finding people in their home countries. So we have to go back to the source, and making sure that fewer people are able to make that crossing. It's really sad to see the situation, but I think we are seeing progress. And as you mentioned earlier, we've got the first 100 people reportedly being identified by the government and sending back under in agreement with France. So
it's the first 100 people. I think 3,000 have crossed since that was announced. So 100 potentially are going back to France, and another 100 will come in return, in addition to the 3,000 I mean, that's not a policy, is it? That's a flipping mess.
Well, as we talked about before, it's a pilot scheme, so it's the very early days.
It's a very bad pilot scheme, Sebastian, isn't it? I mean, surely you must look at that, put your head in your hands and go, really? Is this the party that I support? This is nonsense. It's mathematical nonsense. Makes no sense.
Well, it's about opening up a legal route and making sure that you are more incentivised if you're in Calais to apply for that route and to come in legally than you are to get on a dangerous boat across the Channel, which is certainly something I would never wish anybody to do. So no, it is not going to be the silver bullet that fixes this crisis, but that is exactly the point here. There are so many issues. It's going to be a patchwork solution, and it's going to take time. And anybody who is listening to those easy answers from Farage, I would really say think again, do your homework, and just really ask yourself if it can be true.
Sebastian, thank you for your time. Sebastian